Did you know that the tokina 11 to 60mm is one of the fastest lenses in its price category? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just took a picture of this beautiful oak tree. The sun is still not at the horizon yet, but we already got some beautiful glow from the sunlight bouncing against the sky. With the soft light coming into the landscape, I really loved how the light is covering this beautiful dry grasses here in the foreground. And I'm also using this bike lane to have a leading line into this picture. So on the right side of the frame we already got some beautiful yellowish glow in the sky, and on the left side we still got some blue light in the sky. So that's a really nice contrast with the yellow and the blue against a beautiful oak tree. And I also shot this with a tokina 11 to 60mm, so we could go a little bit closer to this tree and also capture a lot of the landscape. And photographing with the tokina 11 to 60mm, the tree is in real life it's pretty big, but with the tokina 11 to 60mm it makes it a little bit smaller than it is, because the tokina is so wide. Everything in this picture gets compressed a little bit and looks smaller than it is. And also on the right side of this bike lane we got another tree with some sheep under it, and that's also included in this picture. So that's maybe a little bit of a negative side of this lens, that it makes everything in the landscape look small or smaller than it is. So for the rest it's a very nice lens. And I also bracket this shot because the sunlight already bouncing against the sky is much harder than our foregrounds and also the shadows here in the landscape. I already need to be quick because we're starting to get some color in this picture, or not in the picture but in the landscape. No, in the clouds. We're getting colors in the clouds, so I really want to try to capture those colors also in a picture. I'm seeing a beautiful small birch trees in the landscape, so maybe I'm gonna use them, or maybe something else. So I have to move on and search for a good composition. I'm struggling to find a good composition with the clouds that are catching some light. I think I found a composition, but I'm not entirely sure, because it's not really to say wow, but it's more a little bit like I'm in panic mode to capture a photo with the beautiful sky, but the color seems to be passing away already. I've put my camera in portrait orientation because the sky was really nice. We got some beautiful darker clouds against the blue sky, so the contrast from the blue sky and then that gray cloud coming into this frame was really like dramatic and peaceful. We still got a little bit of haze over the landscape. So I've put my camera just above these long grasses here that we're standing in. And in front of us we got a small pine tree that's acting like our foreground element. And with using the tokina 11 to 60mm because it's so wide and we're fairly close to this little pine tree. The main subject was the bigger pine tree that you can see here in the frame. And with putting the camera in portrait orientation, the small pine tree gets emphasized. It's closer to our eyes, so we can use it as a foreground element to make this picture a little bit more interesting, because to be honest it's not the best picture ever, but it does a little bit with this picture. So it's not just a picture about this pine tree, that would be super boring, but with adding a foreground element this picture gets a little bit interesting. And like I told you, with putting the camera just above the grasses, you can see the haze in the landscape. You can see that white line that's covering the landscape. And I think every landscape photographer should consider buying an ultra wide angle lens, or the tokina 11 to 60 millimeters, because it's more of a creative way of photography. Because the lens is so wide, you really have to be looking more for an interesting composition than just putting a lens on it and bang, you can shoot something, because it captures so much. It's easy to make boring photos because you think, oh, I can capture the whole landscape with this lens. And in fact, or what I'm trying to do is search for something interesting, like with a little pine tree, to make the foreground element a little bit more interesting. Because if I would take the same photo without a foreground element, it would be a less interesting photo. I'm trying to lead our eye in this picture with the foreground element going to the main tree, and then the beautiful sky in this picture. Or at least for me, it's a more artistic way of photography. So I found a new composition, but first I want to thank Joris for sponsoring this video. They also sent me their tripod. This is the MX432C with their ball head, the BE45Q. It's a beautiful carbon fiber tripod with a rubber grip on it. And I also asked for spikes for underneath this tripod to make it a little bit more stable when I'm shooting landscape photos. This tripod has 2 3/8 of an inch tapped holes, and also 1/4 of a hole to put some arms on the tripod when you're shooting film or so. This tripod also comes with a level cup and onto this tripod, so you can easily level out your camera. It goes from 0 degrees to 15 degrees. This is the first time using it today, and I can say I'm already in love with this tripod. The tripod comes also with twist locks, and this ball head, it really looks really robust. On top here you got this lever here, you twist it and you can turn the top of your ball head. And one of the features that I really like the most about this tripod, that I really missed with my other tripods, is you got this lever here that you can pull to make your leg go horizontal. Did you see that? It goes in by itself, and when you push down your leg, it corrects itself in the right position. That's really amazing. I really missed that with my other tripods. I asked them to make this tripod 1 meter 85 centimeters high, so they did, so it's way bigger than me. Our main subject is there's smaller trees here in the middle of this frame, the sun coming from each side of those trees, and then here in the front you got a little new tree growing, and that's our main, it's not the main subject, but it's actually our foreground element in this picture. So the main subject is the the beautiful trees here in the middle of this frame, the sun coming from all sides of those trees, and then on the bottom of this picture we got our beautiful new tree. And again I've put the tokina in portrait orientation because it looked a little bit cooler in that way. And also, I'm losing you guys, we got some leaves on top of this frame here. So that's actually like a natural frame that we're putting those trees in. And also we got some trees on the side of this picture. So we're using the surrounding nature to create a frame for our subjects and the sun coming through. And this is going to be probably our base layer for this composition. But to create this picture, I had to use the truc with the duif. It's called the trick with the pigeon in Belgium. The truc with the duif. So I had to put my fingers in front of the sun to expose correctly for the foreground elements, because shooting directly into the sunlight, if you expose for the sky, everything in the foreground will be super dark. So that's why I did the truc with the duif and put my thumb or my fingers in front of the sun and exposed for the foreground, so I can blend that in. I really love this time of year. It's fall, so everything is super beautiful, a lot of colors. But the only thing that annoys me about fall is the temperature. In the morning it's super chilly, so you have to layer up to stay warm in the mornings. Now a few hours in and I'm starting to get hot. But I really love fall, especially when you're in a beautiful place. I was hesitating to go to a place with waterfalls, but then again my last two videos were also again with waterfalls and stuff, so I was like, do something else and let's go to a forest. It's a weak spot for me, those waterfalls. I really love to photograph them. Maybe it's because I'm not really living close to them and it's a little bit more special for me. Ooh. I don't know if you can see this. Do you see the light into the forest? That's amazing. I don't know if I can make a photo with that light. I've made a composition with the sun rays here and also with the ferns here. I made it a bit of a dramatic picture because the light is so hard already, and I've put the ferns on the right side of the picture. On the left side you can see here there's actually nothing into this forest that's really interesting except the light rays coming into the forest. I think it balances out this picture, so you get the light rays on the left side of the picture and on the right side you got the ferns that are getting lit up by the sunlight. By making it a little bit more dramatic, so a little bit more darker spots in this picture, I think it looks pretty nice. I decided to not use the tamaran for this, the tokina for this, because it's too wide. So I've put on the 50mm. It's a nice fit for this composition because I don't want to include too much sky because it's too hard in comparison with our foreground here or the forest here that we're shooting in. So we really got big shadows, very hard light coming into the forest. So if I would include the sky, it would draw our eye to that sky, and that's not what we want. I want to have our eye go from the ferns into the picture to the left, to the light rays in this forest. I just thought I found something about the tripod that it can do, and is flip the camera upside down, but guess what? It actually can. So maybe you're wondering, why is your camera upside down underneath the tripod? And that's because I'm photographing a mushroom in this beautiful forest landscape. This little guy got my attention because it's looking really nice. That little white speck here, that's the mushroom. We got some browns in front of the lens. We got the leaves and the needles a pineapple, and I'm photographing it with the 50 millimeters. I'm using the 50 millimeters because I don't have a macro lens. This would be much easier if I had one. But I never had the need to have a macro lens to photograph, so I never purchased one. Today I could use one. And to make this little guy stand out from the landscape or this environment where he's standing in, I used my phone to light up this little mushroom from a few angles, and I will blend them into one picture so I can really do some light painting with this beautiful little mushroom. If you know what mushroom this is, let me know, because I'm really interested in what type of mushroom it is. I don't even know what settings I used. I have to look. I used f11 for the mushroom at ISO 230th of a second, and also with some flashlight from my I want to say my camera, but from my phone. I was just looking at the back of my screen on my camera and I saw that the photos don't align, so I hope Photoshop will do a good job with aligning those photos together. So we all make mistakes, and today this was my mistake. First I was trying to shoot this mushroom without my tripod and putting my camera onto the ground, and then I thought, oh wait a minute, I'm gonna try to use the tripod so it's gonna be sturdy. But guess what? Probably not. Probably the underground where my tripod was standing was probably a little bit too mushy. So if I put up the picture, it worked out. Sandwich with raisins and a slice of cheese. That's what I needed after the shoot. Justino, thank you again for sponsoring this video. And my beautiful people, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. And YouTube thinks you will like this video, so go watch it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.